Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. So you'll notice that the setup is a little different today, and the reason why is I'm house sitting for a friend. So I'm going to be here till around maybe the end of August. So it's only going to be a temporary thing, and I'm still trying to figure out the lighting situation and the setup, so excuse the quality of this video if it's not as high as it was before. I'm still trying to set everything up. Anyways, what are we talking about today? Well, today we're going to dive deep into my plan for investing going forward from July of 2021 up until the end of the year. So any further out, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen in the short term either, but it's even less clear what's going to happen until the end of the year and beyond, right? So if you recall, around this time last year, I was buying stocks really heavily because we were just on the recovery from that first big crash that we had in March 2020. Well, if you notice that the stock market and crypto, for that matter as well, has been dipping pretty hard recently. But this time is a little different because last summer I was thinking to myself, hey, I could just buy anything and it would be a good idea because everything was down, everything was a good deal. So if I just bought anything, then I would make money. Well, this time is a little different. So this time, don't get me wrong, there are still some good deals out there, but overall, in my opinion, valuations are still kind of high. And also these new inflation numbers that we got out of the US economy for June was rather concerning. So last month, inflation was 5.4%. And normally you think, hey, isn't that a good thing, right? Because if you own stocks, those are assets that go up with inflation. And yes, that is true to a degree. However, the issue is that people are concerned that the Fed might raise the interest rates to keep the economy from overheating. So raising interest rates means that money will become more expensive to borrow, and that puts the brakes on the economy because you have less people buying houses, you have less people just going on vacation or using borrowed money in general. So yeah, that slows down economic activity greatly. And if the Fed raise interest rates earlier than people are expecting them to, well then that could cause a crash in the real estate and stock market. This puts the Feds in a really tight spot, actually, because if you think about it, if they raise rates and put the brakes on the economy, well, then the economy is going to do badly, especially that we're still recovering from the big crash that we had, and they'll have to lower interest rates once again to, keep the economy running. So we're right back at square one. But if they do nothing, then inflation is going to become more and more of a problem. So as you can see, this puts a lot of uncertainty into the market, and there's one thing that investors don't like is uncertainty. And the next big potential thing is the pandemic. So I know we're all tired of hearing about the pandemic, but I've seen conflicting reports on the effectiveness of the vaccine, of the Pfizer vaccine, on the new Delta variant. So for example, an Israeli study has put the effectiveness of the Pfizer vaccine at only 64% effective against Delta, while it's 95% effective against the original strain, the Alpha strain. So other studies have said that the effectiveness of Pfizer is actually 80-something%, so higher than 64, which is good, but it's hard for us to determine exactly the effectiveness. But a common trend is that the effectiveness of pretty much every vaccine is lower for Delta than it is for the original strain, which could be a big problem for us in the coming months as the other strains slowly go away and Delta becomes the most dominant strain. And now we're getting reports of a new Lambda strain, which is also very concerning to medical professionals and to society in general, because that means that we could potentially get a strain that is resistant to vaccination enough such that we would need a larger lockdown, which would certainly crash the market. So we saw in March 2020, everything went down at once as well. So whether you're in stocks, crypto, gold, whatever, they all crashed at once, so there's nowhere to hide unless you have cash. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to fearmonger here, okay? I'm just really thinking of the plan going forward. Going forward for me personally, I think that I'm not super happy about what I'm seeing in the stock market right now, so I'm just going to stack some cash and wait for more opportunities to come around. And keep in mind the difference here, okay? I'm not saying that I'm selling everything. I'm not saying that I'm like exiting the stock market forever. Personally, I just think that there might be more opportunities coming, and you can buy a lot of good stocks for a lot cheaper prices, potentially. Again, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. And once again, the reason why I'm not selling everything is because you never want to bet all your money or all your wealth on like one thing, right? Because if I sell everything, then that means I'm betting everything on a big crash. And if the big crash doesn't happen, well, then I'm just stuck outside as the stock market continues to roar. So think about it this way. It's a bad idea if you bet all in on one stock, right? It's also a bad idea if you just sell everything, because either case, you're betting all your wealth on an outcome that is uncertain, i.e., a particular investment or stock will skyrocket, or if the stock market will crash, right? Either way, you're making a big bet there. So for me, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, and stacking cash is just my way of waiting for the next big opportunity. Now, with that being said, I know most people, including myself, depend on their salary to continue to invest. And that could take quite a long time to build up a significant cash position. And I'm sure most of you who are all finance experts by now know the feeling of waiting for the next paycheck to come so that you can invest. So I think that to speed that up, what you can do is, and what I might potentially do, is that I might cash out of some positions that I'm up on. So I haven't sold any yet, but I'm up quite a bit on my Dropbox calls, for instance. So I might consider selling those and buying shares instead, or just selling those and taking some profits and putting it into something else. Actually, probably I still want to be exposed to Dropbox because, in my opinion, it is a very good and undervalued company. So yeah, I'll probably buy shares instead if I end up selling the calls, at least with part of the money, right? So with all these like call options and things like this, you really got to be careful, because although I have a really long dated call, it does have an expiry date. So at some point it will expire. And that's kind of just the time limit that you have to keep in mind, right? Versus with shares, you can hold potentially forever. As to what stocks I'm buying, I'm probably going to make a separate video talking about it. And that'll probably be the next video. I'm still doing research and I'm still composing that list, so watch out for that video. So for this video, I'm just going to leave it here. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you like the series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.